Hey, what's up, buddy?
What's up, guys?
Hey.
You are alive. I am so happy to see this.
That was probably the worst 24 hours of my entire life.
Only 24 hours?
It was like 3 days, dude.
Oh, it felt like one long day.
Well, that I imagine. But, I mean, you still had to recover for like 3 days after that, too.
Yeah, do you remember me having to hook up an IV to your arm?
I don't. I remember looking at doing like the skin test to see how hydrated you are, and it just like wouldn't go down, so it was like pinching an old person's skin where it just stands up after you pinch it.
You thought you did that test?
Yeah, I
Were
thought
you
I
like
did that.
hallucinating?
Maybe.
Dude, Bills came down and had to show me how to do hooking up an IV to your arm because he said that you were so dehydrated. That was him pinching on your arm.
That explains why it looks like I'm a drug addict.
Well, I'm not good at it. Bills apparently isn't either because he said that he wanted to teach me how to do it, but he wouldn't show me. He just was like, oh, yeah, then you do this and make sure you stick the vein.
And don't hit a vein wall, because that causes lots
Well,
of
either
problems.
way, you're nicely hydrated now, aren't you?
I am. I actually peed for like 30 minutes straight. I did one of those sit-down
Jesus.
pees, and it took 30 minutes for a
Just
sit-down.
a slow
Well, I
drip,
hope
just
so.
a slow
I hope you
dribble.
sat down for that.
Nope, it was a solid stream for half an hour.
Could you imagine if you're standing solid stream for 30 minutes? Like,
Yeah, that would suck.
I don't know how, like, I'm trying to wrap my head around this because I think the longest piss I've ever taken was like a solid minute of like really like solid stream peeing. Like, do you just get bored?
Well, much like size, we
like,
tend
do
to
you-
exaggerate time also.
Well, I was gonna say, imagine like it's like when you're in the bathroom on the toilet, like you start reading shampoo bottles, but you're peeing. You know,
Let me tell you something. I read every label that was in our bathroom like 8 times.
dude, why didn't you just have the watch like give you a book or something to read?
I don't know. It's a guy thing, I guess. When I sit down on the toilet, I like to pick something up and physically read it.
Yeah, I get that.
To be fair, though, you were doing more than
To be
just sitting
fair.
on the toilet. You were
Sometimes I was holding myself down because I thought I was going to take off like a rocket ship with shit out of my asshole.
oh my god.
That's gross. It was bad in here. I don't know if you realize how bad you smelt.
Dude, it was terrible.
No, I think I went nose blind after the first hour.
Oh,
The real question
it
is
was awful.
Did you have to turn around and hug the porcelain throne when you were puking? Or did you like have a trash can? Were you just puking into the shower?
So I was kind of getting it out of both ends. So I just had a trash can. So I'd be shitting, and then I would puke. And as I was puking, I would fart, and more shit would come out. So it was just an all around bad
What did you do?
experience. I don't know.
Like, did you eat something?
I must
Did you-
have eaten something that didn't agree with me.
Like, is it possible to get food poisoning or something from the food synthesizer?
I don't think so because
Yeah.
it's all made fresh daily.
That's what I was saying. Like, everything, it's literally synthesized in front of you. But what if you could, like, choose the wrong thing and it was, like, synthesized food poisoned food?
And it
Like,
goes
press the button
overboard.
Yeah.
It's like, how long do you want to cook this chicken for? And you press 30 seconds instead of, like, 30
I want my
minutes.
internal
Extremely
temperature to be
undercooked.
60 degrees.
I like my chicken with a lot of pink in the middle.
But yeah,
So-
it was quite an experience. I think I'm a better man because of it.
So
that's
slightly random to that, I saw a video the other day of my buddy doing a, what's the word for it? The beer chug with the hose. What am I
The
talking
funnel?
about?
A bomb.
Like a
beer.
beer bong, right? And they were pouring beer into the top of it, and as he was chugging, somebody cracked an egg into it, and it came, you see it go down the clear
bastard.
hose, and you just look like the egg yolk just like spurts out of the side of his mouth, and was like dying for the next 5 minutes.
You seen the videos where they're like people sleeping on their backs with their mouth open and they're putting a egg yolk in their mouth with a spoon?
I have not, but
No.
I'm definitely going to do that to somebody now.
Yeah, and they like wake up and then, like this whole yolk comes flying out of their mouth.
Oh. We did have one time on a
That's how people get punched.
yeah, oh yeah, for sure. We did have one time on a road trip where we took Cheetos and we're sticking them in one of my buddy's mouths. He had mouth wide open, snoring, And when he woke up, we expected him to be like, "Oh, what the fuck?" And he woke up and
Start
he just
chewing.
he looked at us and went like,
Well, that's fair.
yeah.
It is fair.
You guys seen Chris?
I haven't seen him today,
No.
What the fuck is he?
which is surprising because I figured with me finally finishing my sad duty that he'd be like, "Oh, finally you're back. Oh, done with your vacation."
Yeah, no shit. Jesus.
Well, I guess since
I think he's just salty he didn't. get
so
to go
late,
sad.
I should probably go see if I can find him.
Yeah. I don't want like section leader to roll through here and not see him. So why don't you go ahead and go grab him and try to find him?
Okay.
Are you like feeling strengthened enough to walk?
I feel like I can take on the world right now.
That dude, we went through like 3 IV bags with him. He should be feeling phenomenal.
Well, that's
Probably
good.
shriveled up like a prune.
Okay. Well, go do that.
Have
Okay,
fun, buddy.
guys, I'll be back.
All right.
I'll steal your job again while you're gone.
Thanks for that, by the way.
Yeah. You still suck, but I do appreciate you coming in.
Hey, I think I did a pretty admirable job.
But yeah, I was able to get out in town. Were you able to get out in town at all?
No, dickhead. You were supposed to come back and relieve me. I was only supposed to do the code for 1 shift.
Yeah, you did.
I
One
did it
shift.
for 3 shifts in a row.
Oh, no, that's not true at all.
You can't just say because my shift didn't end, that's technically 1 shift.
That is exactly 1 shift.
Oh my god. I really wasn't that interested in going out here anyways.
Why not?
But-
There's like a ton to do here.
Saving money.
What I did was free.
What did you do?
Well, first,
First.
I did my Allman Brothers Museum tour. That was pretty cool.
What the hell is an almond brother?
Not almond, like the nut. Almond, like the band. God, this is why I hate you so much.
Almond brothers. Is that like almond milk?
I'm
Show
not-
me the nipple on an
I'm
almond.
done. I'm not talking to you anymore.
What else did you do? Anything actually fun? That Almond
Yeah, the
brothers could
Harriet-
not have been fun.
The Harriet Tubman Museum is here too. I went to that.
How was that fun?
It's a museum. I learn things.
Oh yeah,
You should probably try that occasionally.
Maybe.
I doubt it. I mean, let's be honest. The only thing you really missed out on when you didn't go out was going to a bar.
I mean, I'm not really that big of a drinker though.
Yeah, but that's where just you guys end up.
That's fair.
I know it's fair because it's true.
Well, you'll be happy to know that each time that I did put in the thing, I did it correctly.
Well, yeah, we're not broken down or blown up, so I assume.
Well, we still don't know what it does if we put in the code incorrectly, so you actually wouldn't really know.
It's true, and I'm not going to find out.
Did I scare you a little bit when I first went down there and was putting in the code and I put it in wrong?
You still scare me.
Why? I was obviously joking.
Were you, though?
Yeah, I knew we were in training mode. Did you see Leon while you're downstairs?
No, where's he at?
He just
He's
went to
out
look for
looking
you.
for you, yeah.
Oh no, I was running around doing paperwork. Just came up here real quick. Where's Forrester at so I can turn over with him?
I turned over with him and just let him all go. I wasn't going to keep him up here.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
I didn't expect
Mr.
you to be this late.
Yeah, Mr. Think for Yourselfer coming up late.
Well, no, I tried calling and he didn't pick up, and I just needed to get that stuff done because it's
He's
gonna.
on watch. Of course he's not going to pick up.
Anyway. Why? What time is? How late am I? It's just like 2-3 minutes, right?
15.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah, section leader is already by and noticed that you weren't here.
Are you serious?
No.
No, not at all.
Okay.
It's only been 10 minutes, by the way.
Okay, good.
Like 9.5. Leon's looking pretty well put together. He's not looking like death anymore.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
really?
feels better.
Yeah,
That's
he was saying that he thought that he was the one doing the hydration stuff on himself, and I had to explain to him that it was Bill's telling me what to do with putting the IV in his arm and stuff. He thought he was doing all of that. He was
What?
hallucinating that bad. Yeah,
Really?
he was incredibly dehydrated apparently.
Like a lucid dream?
Yeah, I guess.
I think so, because he only thought he
That's
was in there for
interesting.
like a day. But
Is that why it smells so lemony in here? Or, I mean, like, not here, down in the office?
maybe I
Like all the
cleaned
cleaners?
the hell out of that place.
Well, I swung by earlier today to just, pay a visit, and it.
I mean,
Definitely
before
lemony.
I left, Rob had him in there on his hands and knees, scrubbing every inch of that bathroom. So it wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, I was in there too. I wasn't like leaving him out there. He was sick. It's not his fault.
Yeah, but he was recovered now.
Yeah.
Rob's
but
like, all right, you're good
still,
now. Clean.
And it wasn't even that bad. I cleaned up before I made him clean. I'm not that type of
Gross.
person.
Did you guys have a chance to make it out in town yet?
I did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. This dude.
Yeah, he
over
said
here-
he went to like an Almond Brother
Shut
museum, and
How
then,
dare you?
And then he went to the most exciting thing of all. He went to the Harriet Tubman Museum.
How is that not exciting? Do you even know who that is?
I do, but it's one of those
Well,
like for
how
me.
is that not
I
exciting?
imagine
I just went to 2 museums.
I imagine that there's like some legitimately like cool stuff to do out here. Like, is there no amusement parks?
Well, what's wrong with the
Like-
museum though?
Museums are cool, don't get me wrong, and like I could understand going once and it being like, oh, all right, well that was cool. But like
When
when
am
we're
I-
talking about like he's over here talking about it like he had the time of his life.
I had a good time.
Yeah, but if
It
you're
is-
I
learning
learned
about
things.
history,
It is hard for me to wrap my head around
Learning? Yes,
going
we know.
to a museum and just being like, this was amazing.
so you think it's amazing to stand in line for 90 minutes, and then you get a
90-second ride.
Yeah, get a
That's more
little thrill
exciting.
ride, and you're like, whew, so worth it.
Well, see, this is where you're making the wrong assumptions because I'll pay the extra $20 to get that little wristband that lets me go to the front of the special line.
See, it doesn't
So
even
then
get you
I wait 10 minutes
a
for
good
2-minute
amusement park.
Is that a dink?
It doesn't
privilege?
even, it's a dink privilege. Even those lines are still fairly long at a good amusement park anymore. Like I may wait 90 minutes, but the person that paid $20 is going to wait 40. Granted,
depends on
it's
the-
not 90.
It
But
depends
still.
on the time of day. It depends on the ride. And if everyone's going towards the same ride and just standing in line, because there are some amusement parks where you have to sign up for a time slot. And this is your 15-minute window. Be back.
Yeah. Yeah, they have them at the Diznay.
Do they?
Oh, yeah.
I've been to Disney tons of times. I've never seen that.
Maybe
Granted,
you
it's
didn't pay
been
$20.
Well, it's been like probably 6 or 7 years since I've been to Disney, so it
Yeah.
might be a somewhat new thing.
Is that when you
They-
blended into
they
It's a
realized-
Small World?
Yeah. It's when he was working there.
There you go.
They realized that people weren't getting through fast enough to make the fast passes worth it.
Worth it.
Yeah. So they assign times, and now if you miss your time, it's just you missed your time and you don't get it. You paid all that money for nothing.
I mean, it's a interesting concept. As long as you're halfway decent at time management, you would think that it would actually be a pretty solid idea.
Well, see,
We
that's
went-
what I have an issue with, because if you're all the way in Adventureland and then you have to trek your way back to Egypt land,
Then
and-
don't sign up for Egypt Land next. Sign up for whatever's close
No, but
to where you're at.
you have to be at the location and say, okay, I will be back in 75 minutes. But by that time, you're already in line elsewhere, and then you have to leave that area to hike on back to the first area just to catch this ride.
We did
I don't know.
a Disney trip where everything was planned out. We did the meal plans, times for everything, the characters, everything. And it was all based on time and at an amusement park. But when it was based on time and you have to be somewhere, you will basically drop everything you need to get over there to meet the time. So you could be having the time in your life on something. And then like, oh wait, I have to eat at 11:15 and it takes me 13 minutes to walk over there, so I have to stop what I'm doing now to get over there. And it's awful. It was miserable. We had to leave the hotels at certain times. We had to be in an area to get to a certain time, and it just didn't matter.
It almost ruins like the vacation part of it. Like
It
sit back and relax
completely
and
ruined it.
wake up when you want, go to bed when you want.
It's so much so the next time we went, I said, no, we're not planning anything. If we have to be, we paid the little bit of extra money so we could just arrive when we arrived to do the meal plans and the character meetings and the dinners and all that. There were certain things that had to be planned for time, but we usually left those for the morning.
The end of night parade.
That, or like certain characters only come out to do certain things at a certain time, like lunch with Winnie the Pooh or lunch with the princesses or something like that, just for those little books that they sign. And then the non-planned time, I had an absolute blast. It was so relaxing. We were just no time crunch for anything. We even ended up staying out of the hotels and in a cabin and was able to drive right up to the door of the cabin, vice parking in a ridiculous parking lot, lugging all your stuff for the week or whatever you're staying there, all the way up to the hotel, up to whatever floor you're on, and then finally unloading. So being able to be right outside the door of the cabin was pretty awesome.
So, real question. How long did you have to save for with 17 kids for that type of trip?
Well, at the time it was only like 14, so it wasn't that bad.
It's only 3 less kids.
Hey, that's a lot of money.
Yeah. How much did you have to spend on that trip?
Quite a bit.
Like, you got a bonus for re-enlisting, right? Did that entire bonus go to that one trip?
Yeah, pretty much.
Jesus.
I re-enlisted to go to Disney.
Like,
It's
now that you're staying in the Navy, what are you doing?
It's like
Or
the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I'm going to Disneyland.
And then he
Yeah,
starts
pretty much.
crying because he knows that he's going to spend all of it.
Have you guys ever been to World and Land?
No, I heard land sucks.
Land is, from what I remember, it's just dead smack in the middle of town, and it's like all of a sudden, oh, there it is. But then when you go to World and you figure out it's its own entire
Universe.
geographical area,
Yeah.
pretty legit.
It's actually a cool story if you ever go to like the museum part of the Disney World.
museum.
Well, it talks about the history
See,
of
this is what I'm talking
Museum
about.
at an amusement park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Best of
This
both
is what I'm
worlds.
talking about.
it. It tells you the exact process he went. Like he built land and was disappointed in it. He went under a bunch of different shell companies and went and started purchasing land up in that area. And when he finally had enough, this was all secretive. It wasn't under the Disney World name, so nobody knew it was coming until, bam, they have all this land, and now they're going to start construction on all this stuff. So it's a very interesting history of the difference between land and world.
And the underworld behind it, too.
Yeah,
Dude,
that's
what
like
if
the
there was
trains and
Disney
trams.
Underworld?
There is.
There is.
No, I'm saying like Disneyland, Disney World, and then Disney Underworld. That'd be pretty
What is that,
legit.
like Us?
Maybe. Or it's like the movie, you know, with the vampires and the werewolves and stuff. That'd be pretty cool.
What are you talking about?
Lichens, not werewolves.
Yeah, Lycans. Do you not know what I'm talking about? Underworld?
No. Oh, the movie Underworld.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was saying, if there was Disney Underworld, that'd be pretty cool. My fucking genius is lost on you guys, okay? I thought it was a
Apparently.
cool concept.
I think your genius is lost on yourself.
I think it was a cool concept because land and world are for the kids mostly, and then there's like the adult one. That's where I was going. Like, that'd be pretty cool.
Just like
The
one
adult
big
one?
Disney Red Room. Is that where
When-
you're going?
Oh, yeah.
God.
Gross.
Hey there, Minnie.
Getting whipped with like a cat of princesses' tails. Because you know it would be just all about the merchandise at that point.
Probably. I bet you the merchandise would be legit, though.
Merchandise.
Where's Leon when we need him? I'm sure he'd enjoy that conversation.
I'm sure he has some of that stuff already.
So did he go just to look for me? Cause
Yeah, dude, like
Yes.
literally like 2 minutes before you got here, he walked off to go find you because we were like, where the hell is Chris at?
Yeah, I don't know where he went because he should be back by now, knowing I'm not wherever he is.
Maybe he died.
I don't know. He seemed pretty good now. I was worried about him last week, but he seems good now.
Yeah, he seems all right. He still seems a little off, but, you know, sometimes how sick you get, you need like a week to recover.
Yeah. It's like the vacation from the vacation. Whenever I took those big long trips, I would always take a couple days on the back end extra just to make sure I recovered at home and not had to go back to work the next day.
I remember when I was a kid, 8th grade, Christmas vacation time comes around, and the first day of Christmas vacation, I got the flu. And I was sick the entire vacation up until like 2 days before, and that 2 days was recovery. And then the day that I was good and not sick anymore was the day school started back up.
Nice.
I was so upset. And then when I was real young, I think I was like 7, I had chicken pox over my birthday.
Oh, when I got chicken pox, I was upset too because I had woken up that morning and I had a chicken pock, like one
Singular.
red bump, and it was
A
it was
pock.
like super itchy. And my great uncle had just come into town for a visit. We were living with my grandparents at the time, and
In Australia.
no, it was here, but it was in winter. We had just dumped a whole bunch of snow, and the plan was everyone's going to go sledding and inner tubing and just, you know, winter wonderland. So I woke up and I asked the question, like, what is this? It really, really itches. And my mom said, well, guess what? You get to stay home because you have chicken pox. And I was so upset because I wanted to hang out with my uncle. So the day goes on, and they come back, and they're all exhausted, and my sister's, poking fun at me, telling me about how much of a blast they had. They go, shower, get ready for bed, whatever it is that they do, only to come back out and be like, hey, I have those same bumps. And all 3 of us kids had chicken pox.
Well, that's good.
Only they got to go sledding and inner tubing, and I didn't.
It's because you didn't self-isolate. If you would have self-isolated, they wouldn't have got the chicken pox.
Well,
This is
I mean,
true.
he was the only one showing symptoms at the time.
Well, and the reason I say this, too, is because when I had it over my birthday, I woke up the day before with chicken pox, and my parents still had the birthday party. I
Like
stayed
they had already
upstairs.
bought the cake and all that,
Yeah,
and you're
I
like,
stayed
sorry.
upstairs in my room, and they were like, well, we already invited all the kids over and everything. We might as well still have a party.
Right?
And I was just in my room fuming for the next, 24 hours. So much so to the point to where, I tried to come out of my room and, get cake. And my dad was like, what are you doing? Get back in the room. You can't infect the other kids.
Yeah.
So they did it like a prison.
You couldn't, just wait, stay 6 feet apart or anything like that?
No, they just kept me in there. So much to the point to where I was like, can I have some cake and ice cream? And my dad, pushed it into the room with a broom on, a plate.
That's such a
he
dad
opened
thing
my
to do.
door and had me, stand on the other side of the room, and he pushed it across the floor. And we had carpet, and it got caught on the carpet and tipped and fell over, and he was like, oh.
Sucks for you.
I'll
There's
be
your
back.
cake.
He was like, I'll be back. I'll bring you more. Didn't come back for 2 hours.
And how old are you?
I was 7. I was
That's
just
gotta be
fuming. I was
scarring.
like, what is going on? This is such, you don't know curse words. I was like, this is malarkey.
Malarkey.
You don't know curse words?
He was that kid that ran into his
I
room.
might be parenting wrong, because I think...
He was like that kid that ran into his room when that mom did the World of Warcraft account cancellation.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, I want cake, and he's shoving his remote in his butt.
Yeah.
The worst part about that video is that it ended up being fake.
Yeah, it was.
I was so, when I first saw it, I was like, this is so perfect. It has to be real. Especially since that channel had, probably 50 more videos after that of the kid, still doing shit.
Yeah.
And then they came out, 3 years later after they closed the channel and were like, oh, yeah, we were literally faking all of that.
Yeah.
There was a
But
video
thanks
of
for
the
the
dude.
likes, clicks, and shares.
There was a video of the
getting us
dude.
monetized.
Yeah, like, share, and subscribe, There's the video of the dude getting his first tattoo, freaking out in the tattoo chair. They would come next to him with the needle, and he'd be like, ah! Freaking out. And, they come out, 2 or 3 years later, they're like, oh, yeah, that was all fake.
There are
good.
real World of Warcraft freakouts, though.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Nerds.
That gripped a roommate I had. He was at the same command I was, and he was looking for a place to stay. I was looking for a little bit extra money. I had a spare room with a spare bathroom in it that we weren't using because it was like an afterthought in the house we bought. So, hey, man, room and board, couple bucks. You can stay at my place. And then World of Warcraft came out when he was staying there, and he never left.
Yeah.
He would get home from work with me because we worked in the same shop. He would go in there, be in there all night. He'd close his door, and he'd come out, and he'd be like, what time is it? And, really? Really? You've been in there for 7.5 hours straight.
Damn.
But I remember when I was in C school, not my roommate, but one of my good friends who was there with me, he decided this dude was super popular, player, different girl in his room every night type guy. And he was like, as a joke, he's like, I'm going to download the trial for World of Warcraft, right? And we didn't see this dude over a 4-day weekend, right? I thought he had left town because he did that sometimes. No one had seen him. We all thought he left town. And then he got so obsessed with World of Warcraft that what he would do was we were on night classes, right? But our night classes were 2 in the afternoon to 6 in the afternoon. So we would go to school, get out. He would immediately go to sleep for 4 hours, get up, and do nothing but play World of Warcraft until we had to go to school. Be falling asleep in school the entire time, go home, go to sleep, rinse and repeat. I went to this dude's room one day. It was probably 2 weeks after he started playing. I'm knocking on the door, trying to get him to come out and go get food. Didn't open the door for the first 10 knocks. And then eventually I hear and the door gets ripped open, and then this dude is already back in his chair.
I'm in the middle of a raid.
I walk in. The room is pitch black. All the curtains are fucking blacked out. He's got his computer on top of his desk with the mini fridge and the microwave within hand's reach of his left hand. He is literally taking a Hot Pocket out of the microwave to start eating. It was like the most stereotypical thing you could possibly see. So much so that I laughed at him because I thought he was joking. And he was like, dude, don't fuck with me right now. I'm in the middle of a raid. I'll talk to you in a few minutes. 3 hours later, he finally takes off his headphones. I fell asleep in a chair. And he was like, all right, man, what do you want to talk about? I need to go take a nap or something.
Oh my God.
I was like, dude, this dude put on like 30 pounds in like 2 months. He didn't leave the room. He didn't anything. Got super pale. Like, so much like you would hear this. Yeah, you would hear this and you would think like, okay, yeah, this really happened.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
We were like, dude, girls would come knock on his door and be like, hey, I haven't seen you in a couple days. He's like, bitch, go away. I'm playing my game. We're like, what are you doing right now? He's like, no, you don't understand. My guild needs me.
So
he's like fluffing off the dried marinara in his chest hairs.
Dude, he threw such a fit one time because he realized he ran out of Hot Pockets. I got a phone call. He was like, dude, I will pay you $50 right now if you go to the exchange and give me all the Hot Pockets they have. Whatever's left over from the $50 you can keep. And I was like, all right, fuck it.
There was 5.
I went over and got his $50, went to the exchange. There was 2 boxes. 2 boxes of like 2 or 4, whatever they came in. And I brought it to him, and I was like, hey, man, this is all he had. He said, I don't care. Give them to me. Okay.
Could you imagine, like, you're basically going to mummify yourself at that point with how much preservatives you're taking in.
Yeah. So
and Mountain Dew.
You're a gamer.
Mm-hmm.
What?
I am not that extreme of a gamer.
You're getting defensive before you even speak.
I know, right?
No, I'm
It's
just
not
clarifying.
even about that. You are a gamer. I'm a gamer.
Mm-hmm.
I have to ask you a question before I go into my story. What do you call the blue stuff that allows you to cast a spell?
Like Magicka?
Or what are some other names for it? There's hundreds of games out there.
Is it always blue? Like why?
It's usually blue.
Typically, yeah, blue.
Throughout all games.
So blue for magic, green for stamina, red for health.
Yeah.
But I mean, typically it's Magicka if it's a game that actually has
Or mana.
Or mana, yeah.
Right. Okay.
See, I would have said potion.
Well, usually there's a potion you can drink to refill
Mana
Magicka.
and health.
Mana.
Or stamina. Or rage, depending on
A
what game you're
potion
playing.
for stamina? I thought that was a pill,
I mean,
Dude,
nowadays
could
it
you
is.
imagine?
which is also blue. Anyways, go on.
So
They missed an opportunity with that one. Should have made it green.
there you go. I wasn't very popular, so I got pushed around. I was bullied quite a bit growing up.
Didn't you say you were like the same size you are now back when you were like 12?
Before my growth spurt. So I found video games for a long time, and back then, it's not like they had tutorials that talked. No one else in my family played video games.
You could buy the big books, right?
Still,
Walkthroughs, yeah.
it wasn't like spoken. So I used to call it Man A. I didn't know it was called Mana. I thought it was Man A. And what's funny about that is mayonnaise. Mm-hmm. My mom asked me if I wanted mayonnaise on my sandwich. I was like, again, young, thought I could do spells if I ate mayonnaise. So I was like, yes, mother, put the magic in my sandwich. Funny story, but you know what? Let's get some sodas.
Okay, I'll fly.
Okay,
I got a dad joke.
we'll save it.
If mayonnaise is magic,
Or not, just keep
then
going.
what's Miracle Whip? All right, I'll pay.
You deserve to pay after that.
Yeah, Jesus. What do you want, normal?
Yeah, normal's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
I
right.
got it. All right, I'll be back.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but unfortunately, he was more of a help to me this last week than I wanted him to be. Like, I thought it was going to be difficult working with him for a week, but he was actually all right.
Really?
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I don't know what you're complaining about. He's not that bad. He's tough to get used to, I will say that. But once you're there, I think you get past like his type of humor and realize that it's what he thinks is funny. I think it's okay.
No, I don't have really an issue with him like that. I know I like to shit on him a lot just because, but I do know he's
Well, you guys are
resistant to
friends.
change.
I do that with my friends too.
But if you go through with this like permanent reassignment request, is just, I guess I'm kind of resistant to change too, because I've learned that when people change their mind and try to realign divisions or departments, or hey, leadership makes a decision that I want to steal these personnel from you, or why don't you do me a favor, let me know who's most valuable to you, and then see who's going to make the biggest impact or not, right? And you have to write an impact statement. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Long story short,
I have no idea what you're trying to say.
So if they're trying to shift people around for what doesn't really make sense other than we would like to make changes, why are you requesting certain people with certain skills? Like, if you know what you're looking for, ask for it. But when you're like, hey,
maybe
provide
their
me more
daughter
info,
was taken and they need a specific set of skills.
I don't know. If you're trying to find someone, apparently the watches, if you wear them, have GPS. It should be easy to find them.
That's true. I mean, I'm not trying to like permanently reassign him. It was just nice to have help.
Well, maybe it's not you, but so what I was asked to do over the past couple of days is to list out everybody what we have, what their job description is, and what roles they play within the command, because other departments may take some people.
Hey, he's coming back. Don't talk nice about him.
Hey, guys. Why did you get
Anyways,
so awkwardly
so you were
quiet
saying
all
about
of a sudden?
realignment?
Well, yeah, that like some people
Hey, did you bring
might
our sodas?
shift.
Yeah, but
Okay.
why does it seem like you guys just topic changed when I walked up?
We didn't topic change. We
No,
were talking about realignment.
I'm explaining the tasks that I was given. Anyways,
Oh, good.
Here
another
you go.
Thanks, bud.
department
There you go.
is maybe trying to absorb my department, or at least many of the personnel, into theirs. It's not really known as to why, other than they want to.
I mean, I could tell you what we're talking about down in Birthing about it.
What?
I mean, it makes sense because we went from sea trials to ground trials. If we're not being used to the best of our abilities anymore because we're not doing sea stuff anymore, they were talking about moving around a bunch of the divisions and departments to where now we're being used for a job specific to what is happening now. So doing ground trials, they're like, hey, you're not really doing your job anymore for sea, so we're going to move you somewhere where you could be effective helping with ground trials. And then when we go to air trials, they're going to move
Yeah,
us
they're just going
around
to do that.
there.
That
Yeah,
sounds dumb.
Maybe, but how is that going to affect your evaluations?
So the concept from what I got told is that it's like a quick change of mission, right? Like in a couple days' time, we can shift over from being our job is sea, now our job is land, now our job is air. But
We're all U.N.A.S.sians.
But instead of
Our job is all.
But instead of having something very specific that we focus on, we focus on that specific mission at the time. And then when we change the mission, i.e. we go from the water to the ground, you also change what your job is and go do something somewhere else.
So
That's what they're talking about down in
You
Murray.
So if you're qualified-
load bullets. So how does your job change? Is there air bullets or ground bullets? The answer is no.
No, there's not.
So why would you change divisions? That's like the more important question.
I have been kind of scared to ask myself this question, but I know that when we switched over to ground, some of our weapons kind of swapped out. I'm really concerned that maybe some of the tank rounds are loaded backwards, and they just haven't had me even look at those yet. And then when we go to air, they're going to be like, hey, some of these missiles are loaded in backwards.
that might be true, but they haven't said that. And I guess what's frustrating is they said, well, which ones are your most valuable guys and which ones wouldn't make much of an impact? So that can go two ways. It's either you're trying to get information of who is qualified
best
in
and most
multiple areas, and they're like, oh, yeah, we could use them. We need him. Or we find out that they're not as qualified, but they would have to take on that burden of training and qualifying them, but not realizing that that new person is ultimately going to be a replacement for the older person. And if they're not available to be as a replacement, then
I don't know. I
the
think
job just disappears.
we shouldn't change anything in switching modes, because if we're supposed to be a command that can switch from tank to ship to air or any combination of that, right?
Okay.
Then we should be qualified and able to switch it complete random.
But that's what we're doing right now.
So,
is
but-
we're getting
so if-
qualified to do that.
But
So
we
if
think
we're
about it
in a
chain of
fight-
command wise, though. Like
The
what
hell
I'm
with chain of
saying,
command.
because if you swap your jobs or you go work for a different department, you're going to be losing all your
we
collateral
shouldn't
duties.
be going to work for a
And-
different department. That's what I'm saying. Is like where we're at right now should be transferable to all three modes. If it's not transferable to all three modes, then yes, realign until we're all in one area that we're going to be in all three modes. To say that we're in the middle of a fight, let's just say we're fighting whoever it is the bad guy at the time, right? And we have to fight from sea to on land. We have to pause the fight, switch departments and muster sheets just to go over there and do something different. That's dumb.
Don't forget about switching over maintenance too.
There's so much. Just
And
Put
man
us in
overboard
one.
lists.
place where we can be in that job for all three modes. Simple.
I don't know. I feel like I've been here long enough, and not in the U.N.A.S.S, but like in the
I
preliminary.
was gonna say we've been here the same amount of time.
No, but remember when I went to go work for like the pre-commissioning unit when we were doing that transfer, like exchange at command phase?
Okay.
So we had one way of operating, then we changed our minds to do another way of operating, and then here we are again, changing our minds again, and it's just, how are we ever going to stick with this program?
That's what I'm saying. It's like
We're still working out the kinks, man. Give it another 10 years and we'll have figured it out by
I
then.
don't know.
three modes. We shouldn't be changing divisions in between modes. The whole purpose of the foul is to fight on all three areas of warfare all at the same time if need be.
You know it'd be really terrible?
No, like I said, one foul, one fight.
It's true. You know it'd be really terrible is if they find out like 10 years from now that after we've made like 10 more TASs that there's some like class-wide issue or something that comes all the way back to our original ship, and then they're like
Command.
tank aircraft, you know. But they're like, oh,
You'll
man,
get there.
if we would have ever figured this out 10 years ago, we would have been able to save this program.
Like millions and millions and
Yeah, think about all the stuff that's broken
Millions
since
of
we've been
dollars.
here. Like, I realize that this first version is going to be a lot of like, well, we don't really know what works and doesn't work yet. But, you know, I feel like there's lessons learned that we could have applied to building these things.
can't-
We
the-
shouldn't be breaking so much.
the biggest one that I have is in our primary watch station with all the consoles that are sitting around.
Mm-hmm.
How the AC unit that's right above your head that drips constantly.
And it's really loud. It drowns out the radios.
It's annoying.
We had one of those in the shop before I fixed it. Took a string and hooked it to the drip, and then took that string and put the other end in a bucket. So the drip would just follow the string to the bucket.
That's not fixing it, though.
Yeah,
I said before we fixed it. When I tried to go through the proper channels and
No, you said when we fixed it, this is what I did.
said before, but whatever.
Is that string still there?
No, I fixed it.
With
so
the string?
so then
Yeah.
you didn't use the proper procedures. What I'm saying.
No,
You took
I
it
had
upon
to
yourself.
go through. I tried to do it the right way. I put the string up, tried to call in a trouble call, get the right people up here, and then they came up, looked at it, said, we can't fix it just yet. We need parts. I said, that's BS. I can fix it with
String.
duct tape and a bubble gum.
Yeah, 41-cent bolt.
Yeah. So they left. Job remained open. I said, the heck with this. I'm tired of this dripping and emptying a bucket every 8 hours.
Should've
I
gone
agree
bigger
with you,
bucket.
and I think that's something that I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to feel a little less salty, but
I don't know
I
if that's
don't
possible.
think what our leadership realizes is that oftentimes, due to contracts or whatever myriad of excuses, these jobs and work requests remain open for so long. The only real way to get it fixed is that we have to spend money from our own paychecks to go to the home improvement store to buy tools, parts, and materials out of our own pockets to bring it back to the Taz to complete the maintenance so that way it's fixed.
You know my favorite
Like,
thing
it's almost like we're getting paid just enough money to pay it back to Quest's military.
I think my favorite thing that I've heard when it comes to supply, when it comes to jobs like that, is we had a job that was in for like 600 something days, and they just would not get this thing pushed through. And the supply officer looked right at us and said, well, obviously that job's not that big of a deal because it hasn't been fixed in 600 something days, so we're going to go ahead and just cancel it. Because if it was that big of a deal, it would have been fixed by now. When every week they pushed that job to the right. So it never got fixed.
Of course.
This conversation is awful.
You're
We're
awful.
leaving tomorrow. Did you guys know that?
I did not. Who's they?
Georgia, the state, gave us permission to leave, but we had to do all the retrofits. We have the brake lights. We have headlights.
Oh, really?
We have blinkers.
So the dudes aren't down there anymore with like the,
No.
the paddles and stuff?
We have washer fluid.
Ooh.
So that watch is secured. The only problem was they had to install rubber boots on our tank tracks so we don't tear up the streets anymore.
Maybe that's
hilarious.
why the realignment stuff came out, is they no longer need those watchstanders, so
Maybe. I don't know.
let's
but
employ them elsewhere.
at least we get to move. And I'm glad I got to see museums before we did.
You're so basic.
How is that basic? You're basic for not wanting to learn anything. Ass. Oh, but I'm glad we're leaving because I get sick and tired of sitting in one spot. It'd be nice to be on the road.
On the road again.
Tearing up the streets with our tracks again.
Not anymore because we got booties for 'em.
Yeah. We little booties.
You look lost. Are you okay?
Yeah, you alright, dude?
No, I'm just thinking. I'm just irritated.
He's always here.
He is always irritated.
I heard that you were really good in that week while I was gone. Is it me that's causing your extra irritation?
I could see that.
He hesitated.
I have extra irritation.
I felt like I did a pretty good job working
No.
with you.
I'm
But I've
glad
lost you for a
felt
while.
like
Ever
that.
since you went crapping, I've kind of gotten accustomed to you not being there.
In a good way or in a bad way?
No, neither here nor there.
Did you realize how much he does?
I just had to rely on Nelson.
Because I realized how much he
Oh,
doesn't
I'm so
do.
sorry. You had to rely on Nelson?
Yeah. We almost ended up in a fist fight over it, though.
Why?
Just not seeing eye to eye. You know, he stood up, I stood up. We were just cussing each other out.
Oh, you didn't see eye to eye because Nelson's like 6'8". Did you have to like squat to look
You
in
would
the
have
eyes?
got wasted by that dude.
It's
What's
over with
funny
now.
about it is like he's about your same age, right?
I mean, I assume so.
You assume so?
He's been in the same amount of time.
Well,
I don't know
anyways.
when he joined.
So I think it's funny when like old people get up and think they're gonna fight when they know they're not going to.
Or if they do, they're just going to embarrass themselves.
And they're gonna be sweaty and hot after two thrown punches.
My favorite is when you see somebody stand up like they're gonna like do something and they're already sweating. And you're like, "Are you okay? Are you panicking right now?" And they're like, like already breathing heavy, and you're like, "You haven't even done anything yet."
Well, maybe it's just like a body's like natural defensive tactic.
Well,
Like
it's
an armadillo
The
in
body
its shell.
does, in a way, raise the heart rate and everything to get the blood pumping to the body to use. But then you get the
Pupils
dudes who
get
just aren't
constrict.
used to like that adrenaline rush happening. They just get exhausted. So like they stand up, they get sweaty and gross or breathing heavy, and then they're like the slowest punch you've ever seen in your life.
Maybe that's the defensive tactic.
You just like
a possum just playing dead.
That's what I'm saying is like I know as men we're pretty dumb and we always think we're still in our prime, even though our prime was like 20 years ago. So I think it's funny when I see that. Okay, guys, you know what? I'm not even gonna tell you to settle down. Go ahead, get it out of your system.
and that's why
I need a joke. Well, maybe. You ever stared down the barrel of a gun when it's pointing at you in a threatening manner?
Yes.
No.
Good talk.
Me and you are reminiscing about things that have happened, and Chris is over there like, "Man, that must suck.
I wonder what that's like.
I wonder what it's like to be."
Well, I feel
in
like there's a story
confrontation."
there, and I thought you were going to continue.
No, I was just wondering, is there a time you've ever had the gun pointed at you in a manner where it was going to be used to end your life?
No, but I
Yes.
can tell you a incident that happened in my life that actually required a waiver
My life.
for me to join the military.
Okay.
Do you like hold up a corner store or something?
No, it was a BB gun, and I remember playing with it.
Giggity.
Yeah. So it was a friend's BB gun, and it was just like one of those pump actions. You just keep moving it.
Stereotypical BB gun.
Right. And I said, well, how strong is this? And he's like, Psh, not at all. You could pump that thing up like 15 times and shoot me from right here, and it wouldn't even hurt. And I was like, oh, really? And he's like, yeah.
I know from experience that is completely false.
I did not. I trusted him.
Now you know from experience.
I should not have trusted him. Mm-hmm. So what happened is there was no screen on his window. So I thought it would be a great idea to pop open that window and treat it like a downtown Dallas, Texas book warehouse and stick out.
Man, seriously.
What?
Like you were sniping out the window.
Is that in bad taste?
Tad bit, yes.
So out the back of his apartment, too soon, from the 1960s, there was this young girl that was playing. She was 7 years old.
How old were you?
14.
Oh, God.
And I thought if I shot her, it would be funny if, like, a drop on the shoulder, maybe, you know, she thought a bird pooped on her or something. Or
like maybe a
fell.
bee stung her.
Yeah, and, like, she'd be looking around wondering, oh, what is that? And I could giggle to myself, ha, 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 I'm making her look around.
I'm a terrible person.
So I pulled the trigger.
And you hit her.
And there was this horrific scream that followed immediately after.
I can imagine.
And I felt bad. So basically, the cops got called. There was also this chain link fence on the other side. Cops got called. People, you know, my neighbor, he ran off and he threw the BB gun in a ditch someplace, which adults saw, told the cops. Cops found the gun.
Oh, my God.
Questioned me. To
You were
which
already
I
in the
told
house.
him,
Just throw it in the
I
closet.
told the cops the truth about what happened. That I was shooting out into the dirt road, and perhaps one of the BBs hit the chain link fence and ricocheted completely on accident, right? I don't know if that's what happened, but I was just shooting out into the road. And long story short, I was charged with discharging of a firearm within city limits and put on probation.
I just picture him walking up with the BB gun, little girl playing, and all of a sudden Chris is like Boondock Saintsing it. Espiritu Santos.
Yeah, that's the part that he's leaving out, is that he was like, well, the muzzle wasn't touching her.
Oh.
You know how I know you're a terrible person?
Why?
Because
You shot a 7-year-old girl.
Well, that part.
At least you owned up to it. I'm just baffled that, like, you would, every time you pump the thing, it gets stronger.
Well,
Like,
Yeah, there's
Up around,
definitely resistance.
around pump 15 is when you're like,
What are
trying to,
what
like,
are we?
clutch- Oh, my God.
What are we pumping?
What in
Jesus
the fuck?
Christ, dude, my heart. You didn't
He's
have to
been
touch
here
me when you
since
walked
like
up.
2 minutes after you left.
Really?
Where have you been?
I've been wandering around trying to find him.
See, this is why you need a wristwatch. Sorry to say it, but you need one.
A wristwatch.
I won't.
Anyways, I would imagine around pump 15 is when you're like struggling to close it all the way.
Oh, I was.
This
And
is a
at
weird
no
part of the
point-
conversation to come in on.
At no
Chris shot a
point-
7-year-old girl with a BB gun.
Yeah.
I had never shot a BB gun before. I had no idea.
Was it one of those golden trigger BB guns?
No,
Because
listen,
those you can pump up.
I thought
like,
this
a
whole
lot.
ordeal was a small prank.
I used to have one that could shoot through my fence.
A BB or
Yep.
a pellet?
It's a BB. that
Oh
would
my
shoot through the fence.
God.
That's why I thought one of those. So they made them back when I was younger, but it's a BB. I forgot what it was called, but it has a golden trigger on it, and you can pump, and it'll shoot through a fence.
Holy crap.
I had a pellet gun when I was growing up for about 3 days.
Would you shoot the
And then
window
you
out?
messed up.
So, you know the toppers on the back of trucks? You know what I'm talking about? Dad bought me the pellet gun. I have a huge yard, so a pellet gun's not going to shoot very far, and I could just go out there. I made a target. I put stuff. It was just a cardboard box with construction paper and targets drawn on it, and not even circles. They were like stars. And I was just getting bored with it. It's a cardboard box. This is boring as hell. And I was getting pretty good. I was throwing it up in the air and shooting it in the air. And this was boring, but there's this bright blue truck topper sitting right there. This thing has windows and lights and everything on it.
All kinds of things to aim at.
Oh, yeah. Little things, too, so I could really hone my skills. So
That makes perfect sense to a 12-year-old boy.
Yes.
I assume you're
Or
12.
14.
I was not.
It was
12.
not a child.
I was 9.
Imagine how different that story would have been if he would have said, there was a child sitting on the back of this truck,
And it
there
made
was
perfectly
small
sense
stuff
to shoot her.
that I could
Moving
aim at her kneecaps.
Moving target.
Moving
You
target.
know.
It's way tougher.
So I started shooting the lights out of this topper, and I thought it was the greatest thing in the world until my dad went to go put his topper back on. And he realized I had just cost him a couple $100 in damages to his topper. And that pellet gun then became a paddle.
That sounds fun.
It was not.
At what point did you realize you fucked up?
When he broke the gun over my butt.
So previous to that, there was never a moment where you went, I probably shouldn't be doing this.
Nope. I was just having a blast.
God, that is the golden age of being a kid when you're just like, you're having the time of your life. And it doesn't even, like when your dad looks at you and is like, how did you not think this was a bad idea? And you have to legitimately look him in the eyes and go, I guess I'm an idiot because I thought it was a great idea.
So back then,
Like,
He
I'm
didn't-
still trying to.
yeah.
absorb
He
how
probably
it's
never
bad.
used it, but the one time he went to use it,
Yeah. It had been sitting in the yard for I don't know how long. And he never used it, and he needed it for something, and it just happened to be the day after I shoot the hell out of this thing.
that's funny.
Like,
And
right? Like, you can't just wait
That's irony
9
right
months
there.
and then he just wonders what happened.
Did you
Yeah.
vouch up to it or did you deny it at first?
There was no denying it, or he didn't even ask me. He walked in, gun in hand, dragged me outside, beat me with the gun, and then what wasn't broken on the gun, he broke on the ground, threw it at me, and went inside.
Jesus.
Yeah, this wasn't, geez, son, what did you do that for? This was, I'm getting pulled away from my peanut butter and jelly sandwich outside, drugged through the house. He's got a gun in his hand.
What went through your head? I shouldn't laugh because this is basically like silver lining child abuse.
Oh, there was no silver
but
lining. It was child
like,
abuse.
but at what? What went through your head as you were getting dragged? Were you like, oh my god, it's like Old Yeller, I'm about to get put down? Like,
I didn't even think that. I didn't know what was going on at
Did you
first.
recognize it was your gun?
And
Or did you
no.
just see gun?
Thought
I
he was
just saw
going
gun.
outside to show you how to use it.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, no, not by
Run,
the way he was
boy.
dragging me. Back of the neck, just dragging me through the house. Then we got outside, and he brought me to the truck topper, and he looked at it. He looked at me, and that oh shit moment hit. Like,
You went,
I realized he'd found out, and that's when I had about 3 seconds before he just started beating my ass with the gun.
did he say anything? Like,
Nope.
explain.
It was just a mutual
No.
understanding.
It was a
Rob-
father son bonding
Yeah.
moment. You looked at each other. He looked at you, and you went,
Rob looks. Yeah.
all right.
Locked
Again,
eye
I just
contact.
imagine you, but 12 years old.
9. I said 9
9
once
years
already.
old, whatever.
Listen.
That no speaking communication is something men can do well.
Yes.
And you can look at another man and know exactly what he's thinking without even saying one word to him.
Rob's
Completely
words that
agree.
day were just like, I get it.
I was 9, so it was more like, oops. So I had a pellet gun for about 3 days.
I still have a pellet gun.
Yeah. I mean, he eventually forgave me. There was no moment where like, I forgive you, son, for your transgressions
He
upon
just,
my
he
truck
just stopped
topper.
being aggressive at you.
Oh, he finally talked to me, but there was a good couple months.
He said, "Give me
It's
a
like
beer."
when he
boy."
was 12, you can finally say,
And
when I
then
was a 12-year-old boy, he told me to get him a beer, and that was the first time he spoke to me in 3 years.
I think the worst part of it all is my mom got home and he told my mom. So I thought the worst of it was over until my mom found out, and then proceeded to spank my ass then.
Jesus. He's like, "Hey, I warmed him up for you."
Yeah, this is very old school parenting type stuff.
Apparently, holy shit.
Yeah, I used to. So we had a big willow tree in my backyard, and when we'd get in trouble, we'd have to go pick our own switch.
And you better choose
Off the
right.
willow tree.
If
Yep.
you choose too small,
My aunt did that. She was like this little frail woman about the size of Drew.
fuck you.
And then one time, so I have two sisters. So one time my dad was spanking my sister with the willow, and every time he would slap it across her butt, the tip of it would come and stab him in the leg. So when he got done, he was bleeding off of his leg because every time he hit her, it would come around and whip his leg.
Oh, jeez.
So the old verb,
Yeah, those willows they're fun.
the old adage, this is going to hurt me more than it hurts you, actually applied.
Well, I think on that note, I'm going to go cry.
Just brought up a couple core memories.
Yeah, right. Like, we're not going to get any sleep tonight.
Yeah,
Be
we're all going
dragging
to be
ass
like,
tomorrow.
Leon will.
Teary.
He's feeling great, man. Look at him.
Yeah.
Look how hydrated.
did you
he
nap?
looks.
No.
You look napped.
Well, I
You look
stopped
well rested.
stopped at the candy and soda machines because I thought I was going to be on quite an adventure tonight, and I was right.
Well, there are reliefs, so we can now get out of here.
Yeah, since Leon basically didn't stand a watch.
Whatever. Don't be jealous.
I'm jealous.
All right, boys.
All right, guys. Later.
Bye.
Later.
U.N.A.S.S. Midwatch stars Robert Williams, Chris Sharp, Andrew Mingione, and Chris Short. Logo created by Natascha Mingione. Thank you for listening to U.N.A.S.S. Midwatch.